This is Twit.
Sure.
So, Jim, do we know where this data was stolen from?
No. Hold Security got this data. They won't tell us exactly where because they want to preserve their ability to get this type of data in the future, but somewhere in the criminal underground, and it's just a hoard of credentials. It's unclear from these credentials where they were taken, and they're trying to figure that out right now.
Well, do we at least know if the data came from hacks that have already been reported in the press, or are we looking at the evidence of hacks that haven't yet been reported?
Holt is pretty or certain that they're from hacks that have not been reported in the press.
Wow, so we could be looking at additional news reports coming out pretty soon of another, or several apparently, new Target-like hacks where consumer data has essentially been stolen. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct. So Target in the hack where there were 40 million credit cards and then another 70 million pieces of data. In this case, they're talking about 360 million pieces. There was one hoard that was like 150 million pieces. So that would be twice the size of the Target breach.
So Curtis,
yikes! And these are email addresses. And the part that I found the most disturbing was unencrypted passwords that go with these email accounts. So why are unencrypted lists even floating around like this?
Well, I mean, it's the same story over and over again, which is companies that we trust do a lousy job of protecting our information. We don't know who these companies are at this point, but you know, it's pretty disturbing.
Now, how much do we know about what kind of data it is? We know there are passwords, both encrypted and unencrypted. What other kind of data? Is there potentially credit card numbers, that sort of thing?
No. All we know is that these are credentials to access websites, we believe, or some kind of computer system. So, you know, it's potentially, I don't want to say what kind of website because I just don't know. I mean, there was a big breach at, you know, a dating website. It could be a dating website, it could be a gaming website, it could be a bank, it could be something taken from a retailer. But again, it wouldn't be fair to say it's any of those. It's just those are types of breaches that have occurred in the past. The Adobe breach, there were tens of millions of credentials stolen. You know, it's something on the size of that. And again, that was one of them. There were several different attacks that Hold Security has identified in the past 3 weeks. This is a company, basically what they do is they go around and search criminal forums looking for data. They find it and they tell their customers when their data has been stolen. That's sort of their business model, and that's how they uncovered this stuff.
Now, Curtis B. in the chat room is asking if it all came from one source or multiple sources. I know from your article that it came from multiple sources, so just to make that clear, this is from multiple sources. One of them is very large, but we don't know exactly how big the other ones are. Now, another question I have for you is, you know, you mentioned these sort of online black markets where this data is for sale. What are these sites? Are these like kind of criminal underground site? Like, where do you go to buy 360 million login credentials?
You go, these are places where criminals who establish some level of trust with each other go. It's not a site that you or I could easily get access to. It is hopefully a site where undercover law enforcement officers do have access and they're pursuing this. But you know, apparently Alex Holden of Hold Security does have access to these kinds of sites, and there are other people engaged in the same type of business who do as well.
Well, Jim, I want to thank you for coming on the show and explaining all this.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks again. You can find Jim's work at Reuters.com and also on Twitter at TechWriterJim. Thanks again.